Thanks for having us here, FinDEVr. So we are a regulatory technology company in the business for past 4 years. We are based out of San Francisco in India. So we are here to disrupt the governance, risk, and compliance industry through a pure play risk platform. I'll try to walk you through the GRC platform and then eventually risk analytics and the risk data lake, a couple of other products what we have built above our risk platform. So we are trying to address this regulatory compliance industry. Every bank seems like they are spending more than a couple of billions every year on fines with regulators like FINRA, multiple other regulators like SEC. So totally, it seems like a very large market, $160 billion market. We are trying to, there is a lot of things are being spent on consulting and business services. We are trying to address the rest part of things where there are not much efficient products. So we are trying to see how we can help the existing compliance team, regulatory inquiry teams who can be provided with an intuitive product which can help them improve their internal audit process or compliance audit process. So we are trying to see how we can leverage even analytics to see how we can help them predict what are the sorts of audits they should get into, what are the kind of risk management systems, kind of the risks they may have in the first quarter of next year, etc. stuff. And the main problem we are trying to address by providing a software as a service model in this GRC platform and risk analytics world is, so we are trying to really contain this implementation cost and also even the total cost of ownership. So we are able to clearly help the organizations predict how much they are going to spend by having a software as a service model. And I think these are the few names, relationships what we have currently. So in fact, we were part of a couple of large global banking accelerators out of India. And we are working on some research projects with a few Swiss banking majors. And we have helped a few regulators in emerging markets to see how they can work with a lot of the community banks and kind of to see how that compliance of those community banks and small-scale microfinance institutions can be complied towards using a GRC platform which is customized towards the regulator itself. So we were consistently rated as one of the top 10 fintech companies in the emerging markets like India. So this is our core GRC risk platform where we have built more than 10 products: internal audit management, risk management, policy, compliance, control, fraud, asset management. Most of this are, right now, our biggest competition is Excel and Outlook. So not Thomson Reuters, Walter Clover, or Metric Stream Archer. So because we see a broker-dealer or a hedge fund are still using Excel Outlook to manage the regulatory inquiry process or the blue sheet responses. So that's where we are coming handy. We are trying to see how we can automate those processes. I'll just try to walk you through. So somebody wants to automate their current risk process, they can come to freshgrc.com. So we are trying to bring the fresh new wave of GRC world to the world. So they can come, just subscribe. It's just flat 5 minutes. It's a very transparent pricing, which is we are trying to bring as part of the software as a service world. I think which is not there prevalent in any of this current GRC world. So they can just punch in their key, the credit card, and then they can set up their user, and then they are good to go. They will get the password token, and then they can have their username, password, and then they can log into their own instance. And when they have their own instance, this is how the platform looks. And somebody wants to kind of, in fact, automate the audit process. It's like they can just do this plan, do check act. So this has all the default libraries like FINRA library or SEC libraries, which they are supposed to regularly internally monitor, audit, and track. And it's not just change management. It's about also even you want to respond to some of the external applications by having some integrations. We have built some few connectors, interesting connectors. So I'll just try to walk you through. I'm not going to bore you with kind of all the platform. So how well a compliance management system can be built by a regulatory platform. I will try to walk you through just how well an internal audit process can be automated. So somebody wants to have an internal audit process automated. They can say that this is how they will plan the internal audit process. And then once after they have decided what is that internal audit they are going to carry out. Is it a SOX or FINRA or whatever different libraries audit regulatory library they are going to automate towards. And then they can say who are the auditor, who are the auditees. When they have planned for all of this, they can eventually get to the do part where they can say these are the checklists. It will automatically come into the do part. And then once after it comes to the do part, they can select the list of checklists, what they are going to ask for. And they can send it to the list of auditees. Assume they are doing a very complex FinDEVr audit, and it has hundreds of checklists in a single audit, and it needs to go to multiple bunch of auditees, and they need to be reminded, escalated if they are not providing. Automatically, when this is taken care by a regulatory technology platform, you can really repurpose a lot of your internal compliance technology teams to expand the scope of the current audits what they are carrying out. So they assume they are responding to this checklist, whatever published by that auditor, internal compliance technology team for a FinDEVr audit. And then once after the checklist is kind of submitted, and even the auditee logs in, when the auditee logs in, he gets to see his only the list of audits, whatever he is mandated to respond to. And then he submits the response, and he kind of then eventually the auditor gets to score according to a COSO scale based on the kind of clarity of the documents and the quality of the documents. And then finally, the auditor can send it back to the auditee for a corrective action, preventive action, and then finally he can add his observation as part of the published part, and then he can push it for the final observation. And then it comes as a final nice dashboard with a lot of other things, and we can have a even organizational level dashboard where we can drill down and do a lot of things. So likewise, many of these processes gets automated. I want to kind of talk about one more important module, which is compliance. So we are really trying to democratize this whole GRC world. We are trying to see how we can really give the power of the setting up your own compliance process, not by having a big four and not having dependency over a big multi-million-dollar technology platform. Because we know that it's the compliance is not the only business of a large bank. It need to come through this broker-dealer or a lot of this microfinance or a lot of the small-scale financial institutions who also have regulatory mandate. So the compliance module is about having your own regulatory libraries. We provide basic set of libraries, compliance libraries. You can set up your own classes and things. Once after you have this set up, so this goes as part of the whole GRC platform, where you can use this as part of your internal audits, risk management system, policy management system, whole lot of the whole risk platform. I think that changes the whole thing phenomenally well. And here today, in fact, we are not just here to talk only about the GRC platform. We are in this business for 4 years. We are very successful in the GRC platform business, at least in the emerging markets. We are looking at growing globally now. We are here today to talk more about even few more things what we have built in the past year. So last 1 year, we have worked with few global banks like SocGen and Barclays, building a risk analytics platform. We tried helping them at least to predict risk in few of the areas. At least Barclays and SocGen made us to work with them as part of their accelerators in India. So we kind of helped at least banks to predict people risk, which is attrition. So every bank seems like spending a lot of money on attrition, and $25 million for 5,000 people captive. So we were mandated by predicting this attrition. So it's eventually not only attrition, they are expecting us to build a people risk analytics, because people are the weakest chain in the whole risk factor of any banking world. So they have asked us to build a whole aspect. So this is how our results came. So I'll just try to show how we have built this whole thing for at least a few of the accelerator programs and engagements. So we used Azure machine learning as a data lake as a service, and Azure Machine Learning Studio for this accomplishing this risk analytics platform. And we have kind of kept all of this data, cleaned the data set, and it had more than 80 attributes, and we had 5 years of data. And when we had this, we used 80 million iterations totally, and out of which we could crack using support vector machine as a model. And the model now we are looking at even providing this as a now service, risk analytics as a service for the banks, and where we are looking at using this model, whatever we have built and trained over the course of 18 weeks as part of a few of this acceleration program. And now those models are able to predict accurately towards 84%. And we were able to predict people risk, which is attrition risk, 84% accurately, whether they are going to leave the organization or not. We are able to predict accurately towards when they are going to leave whether they are going to leave in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, towards 71%. At least for this training program, we took good 4 years of data, 5,000 employee records, and finally we got a lot of results, great results with support vector machines. We initially started with more than 80 attributes and then ended up using nine attributes. So we provided very simple insights, but very dramatically game-changing. For example, everybody know that employees leave managers, right? They don't leave companies. So we were able to validate that fact. 28% of the employees were leaving because of that. And there was some insight like the the salaries increase since joining was not in the top 3 reasons, which was a great insight we were able to provide for one of the clients whom we are working. And it was a phenomenal thing because the functional department played the top 2nd role. So you try to conduct a lot of the internal job fair than throwing money at the employees. It's a very simple insight we were able to provide while helping them with our risk analytics platform. I think it's a very important thing, and they are spending 25 million, and if they are able to even contain a good amount of that attrition, I think it's going to be a huge cost saving. And we are looking at, and in the past they have tried using internal, external consultants, predictive models. It was neither efficient nor scalable. So when we tried this, providing this decision support system, risk analytics platform through this REST API, I think it's really phenomenally working and helping them. And this is how, in fact, we are providing. And the risk analytics, the whole data lake is handling this data part, and the machine learning studio is handling this machine learning part. And we have the SAP HANA or the internal systems which is taking care of the SAP data, and then we talk to that, and we also pass it back to the internal enterprise application where this prediction is happening and published. So it's a very interesting stuff we were able to build, and I think it's a very interesting thing, risk analytics platform. I think eventually we have a lot of opportunities now to extend this risk analytics platform for multiple other things, finding out rogue traders and different other things, risks of any financial industry is what we are looking at predicting. And we are here to talk about now risk data lake. So in fact, as an extension of risk analytics, we said, can we handle some huge quantums of unstructured data and also do the same level of prediction in providing that? So we kind of even the reason why we were mandated to try this out by one of the Swiss banking major is the Basel, because when Basel came in and they said it's like this is not really helpful, and the risk data aggregation, risk reporting practices, the kind of new changes commanded by this BCBS 239 is kind of expecting banks to listen to a lot of unstructured data as well. So we thought data lake is going to be the solution, which will work along with our existing risk platform, which can be handy for them to file a lot of regulatory reports. So we kind of, I think Gartner and many others are endorsing this. The risk data lake is going to be, and in fact, for the BAS report has clearly said the many of these new principles of this BCBMS 239, the reports, whatever being filed as a self-assessment, is big-time failure, and it's not at all compliant by this, even the SIB banks. So I think that's where we are coming handy. We are trying to see how this structured, unstructured risk. So we kind of have used some of this Hadoop data lake as a service by, again, Azure, Microsoft Azure. And we kind of have used this to predict and provide a lot of this regulatory reports, what they are supposed to mandatorily file. I think I'll stop here, and probably will be able to walk you through the data lake a little more in detail, because there are some few confidential research things we have carried out for them, because of which I am not able to showcase here. And would love to take any questions. And we are looking at raising Series A. We were extremely bootstrapped, frugally run, and looking at raising funds. So in case if any of you are interested, stop by our booth. So we are working in India, Singapore, US at this point of time. We are looking at expanding to Europe, Canada. And which US-based audits do we have templates on? FINDRA, SEC, and we are sector agnostic. We can handle even healthcare or other industries as well. Yes, we do offer on-premise. So we use Docker, a few other interesting technologies to do the on-premise. Okay, I think I'll be able to, yeah, we can share the deck when we kind of, if you can stop by our booth, we can share the deck. Thank you, thanks.